Welcome, we meet here in now in space and time to discuss what's up. Today's Tuesday the 16th, and this is going to be a special Lucifer themed report. And boy, are there exciting times. Many people discussing the intensity, the heaviness, the transformation that is happening. And largely what we're celebrating this weekend is the Sun and Pluto's ingress into Aquarius. I'm going to cover that in a separate video because Pluto's going to transit Aquarius for over a decade. There is a lot to get into this Pluto-Aquarius transit. So I'm thinking more bite-sized, more regular videos going on this year. We will also be meeting for our forthcoming Q&A coming up on the 20th. So if you got something going on in your life, not sure, struggles, want to talk to me, have a mini birth chart reading, tune into our Q&A on the 20th. By the way, there may be some hammering in the background, which is appropriate for our overhaul Capricorn-themed days. And there's always something, so I'll try my best to edit the hammering out. So Mercury goes into Capricorn. This would have been a couple days ago on the 14th. Mercury's in Capricorn through January 27th. Mars, ruling the moon's north node, went into Capricorn January 4th, where he will remain through February 13th, and towards the end of this month, Venus, ruling the moon's south node in Libra, enters Capricorn January 23rd through February 16th. So we've got both rulers of the moon's nodes in Aries Libra polarity, ruled by Mars and Venus. They're both going to be in Capricorn by the end of this month. And there is this indication here of overhaul. It's time to get to business. It's time to get to work. It's time to get back to momentum. And this is also some of the crises of the day. As I mentioned, we'll talk about Lucifer, who is conjoined the centaur planet Chiron these days. Mars is going to square Chiron towards the end of this month. Then we've got a solar eclipse in April, conjoined Chiron in Aries. So this theme of the day is, how do we get back up on our horse? What is that spark, that motivation, that will to live to get back online? And likely we're doing a tremendous reverberation back and forth between this fresh new possibility, new world, new timelines, new figures, new realities being born. But when we step into the new, it's thoroughly unknown, mysterious. We have no idea. Something needs to change. What exactly that is, we may not be sure. But what is being cleared out is everything that needs to go. This is the sun completing its transit of Capricorn through January 20th, and then the sun joins Pluto as they both move into Aquarius on the same day. So there's this tremendous buildup of tension, and it is like popping a cork. There's a buildup of gravity, a buildup of tension, a buildup of frustration and instability, and something's got to change. I got to get out of here. This is driving me crazy. Each and every one of us is going to be using and harnessing that divine discontent, which I affectionately associate to Aquarius and Uranus, because something's got to go. For example, the hammering in the background is my own divine discontent, but it reflects the times. We're all dealing with this in some way, shape, or form. It's like, I'd like to be able to think straight and communicate straight, but we've got to make some environmental shifts here. Now, as I mentioned, Mars squares Chiron towards the end of this month. So Thursday, the 25th, we can all mark on our calendars. This is a turning point. And Mars square to Chiron, as I mentioned, the forthcoming eclipse in April also has these themes to do with Chiron and Aries. And wherever Chiron transits, there's this three-part process. First, we experience woundedness that forces us on a journey of how do we find the medicine? And then we discover that medicine, which brings us into being healers, teachers, and Chiron and Aries is birthing warriors, leaders. We must all have the confidence to initiate our own direction. We all must be using anger and instincts and reactions usefully as a defensive protective mechanism. And separations are going to be hot now through springtime, especially this coming eclipse season. We have to go our own way. Does that necessarily mean splitting off? No, but we have to go our own way even within our relationships. We all need to have freedom even within our relationships. Now that brings us full circle back to our theme of the asteroid Lucifer, who's actually been central in my studies going on many, many years. And as Pluto goes into Aquarius, and I'm going to put out an additional video, so stay tuned to that, we are entering very changing times. What we used to think was up was down. What we used to think was right was wrong, was left was right, so on and so forth. And so my introduction of the asteroid Lucifer at the beginning of this year, I don't think could be more appropriate, especially when we see the correlation between the Aquarius energy, Pluto going into Aquarius, this unclogging of all of this Capricorn, and the asteroid Lucifer will join the moon's north node on the same day that Uranus stations direct at the end of this month on the 27th. So we're going to be experiencing some of this hot, intense, trailblazing, defensive, protective, aggressive energy now through the end of this month. Now, this is really a thing to embrace, as Lucifer is paradoxical. Lucifer is the end of knowing what's up and what's down and what's right and what's wrong, as Lucifer has to do with this fundamental merging of polarities into ultimate paradox. And so what I'm going to share with you today is actually going to be quite anti what we've known and heard before, which, as some of you who are familiar with my work, this is the stuff I live for. We're spearheading the Aquarian age. This is new material. These are new teachings. These are new understandings, and it is quite revolutionary. Now, the last time Lucifer conjoined the moon's north node was about 4 years ago. There was a Lucifer retrograde over the moon's north node from the end of 2019 to the beginning of 2020. Now, as Lucifer joins the north node again in Aries, there is a need to be a bold individual. Now, where Lucifer is, there is the best and the worst. This can be the extreme shadow or the extreme gold in any case or scenario. So the gold of Lucifer and Aries is to be that leader who is fearless. And the potential here is we know the truth. We could go against 100,000 people and win because we are in tune with reality. That's the power and potential of this Lucifer and Aries. What's the negative potential of this Lucifer and Aries? Of course, it's going to be burning everything to the ground. A type of aggressiveness where this fire that I'm going to suggest we learn to use and contain can turn into a wildfire. Lucifer is also about defiance. It's about separation. It's about going against the grain in a way that doesn't even make sense with our spiritual paradigms. This is the Gnostic Lucifer, for example. The Garden of Eden myth gets rewritten through Gnostic Lucifer, where Adam and Eve are born into a deceptive Garden of Eden, and a demiurge imprisoning God keeps them hidden in this so-called heaven, and it is a Lucifer who actually liberates Adam and Eve from this deception. Now, many of you are familiar with the film V for Vendetta. And this was originally a comic strip written by Alan Moore, who is first and foremost a magician. So just so you know, V is Lucifer. And V for Vendetta is a reinterpretation of the Gnostic Lucifer mythos. So the bad guy, Adam, the good girl, Eve, the liberator, Lucifer. And what is V always demonstrating in that movie? Revolution, right? And going against the grain and challenging the consensus, even if it seems wrong, representing goodness. And what we see on the surface, or what meets the eye, isn't always what it actually is. This is the realm of Lucifer. This is the realm of Aquarius, the light bearer, and the name Lucifer simply means light bearer. Was not correlated with the devil until fairly recent human history. And there's a lot more. You can buy my Lucifer material at rosalilahealing.com/store. I go very, very in depth with this very powerful and deep, relevant indeed archetype. Now, I'm going to give a personal example here to demonstrate Lucifer on the moon's north node, because it was roughly 4 years ago that this transit last took place. And those of you who have followed me for years, you may remember that this is when I separated from my old mentor, teacher, Tom Letcher, aka Kipacha. Now, having reflected on this period 4 years later, I regret not being meaner, I regret not being harder, and I regret not exposing more of the bullshit of this man I was associated with. And you can go on to Google and type in Kipacha sexual abuse. One of the women who he abused for the longest time, her name is Tia Quinn, and she wrote a full expose of who this man actually was. So those of you who have followed me for a while, you know that I split from this guy roughly 4 years ago when Lucifer transited the moon's north node. But just so you all know, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The sexual abuse that this man's been exposed for, that's just one of many, many, many things as to why it was not okay. And a little tidbit is, he was cheating on his wife, having sex with his students on his retreats, on his workshops, with women that were sometimes 1/3 his age. It wasn't just that whole shit show. The whole astrological community was fragmented. I watched half of the community defend this guru narcissist to the death. And it wasn't just that. It was the other astrologers that surrounded Kipacha. It was just an absolute mess. There was Maurice Fernandez who had to defend this man to the death. Why? Because he was the one who put him up the most on the pedestal, was the most associated with him. So Maurice Fernandez had to save his own ass and was kissing up to Kipacha. Ari Moshe Wolf, kissing up to Kipacha when all of the shit was going down, pointing the finger at me for being involved in exposing his shittiness. Why was Ari Moshe so defensive of Kipacha during all of that going down? Is it because Ari Moshe was having sex with his students and he felt the need to be defensive? That's kind of interesting. And P.S. guys, I know you're older and less mature, but the reason we do not have sex with our students is there's actually a power dynamic that's there. Surprised it took you so long to get that. So the point here is, I regret not being meaner. I regret not, being sharper. And I've received so much shit over the years for my quote unquote evil, which is what? Me speaking the truth, me being mean, me being sharp. I mean, the point is, this stuff has affected so many people. And there's a difference between being a talking head, I study evolutionary astrology, and embodying it and actually demonstrating what it means to be in integrity, right? So let's be in integrity, right? Let's stand up for what's right. And that's going to be a part of this Lucifer Chiron on the moon's north node in Aries. It's not necessarily easy. It's not necessarily fun. Guess what? If we wait for God to do everything for us, the way I recall having this conversation with Ari Moshe when all of this was going on, oh yeah, don't get involved. Don't discuss. Don't talk about anything. If we just leave everything to God, guess what that is? That's negligence. Where's there any justice in that? Where is there any compassion in that? Where is there any wisdom in that? We have to represent. We have to represent wisdom. We have to represent justice, and we have to do the right thing. We have to do it. You can't just sit back and wait for everybody else to do the hard work for us. There are too many people out there already doing that. And what we do is give away all of our power to shady fucks like Tom Letcher, who you can still give thousands of dollars of money to travel to some other country and be lectured by a so-called Jesus figure. I think not. You know what Aries is about? Protection. You know what Aries is about? Defense. You know what Aries is ruled by? Mars, the warrior. Do y'all need a demonstration of what Aries Martian energy looks like? Does it need to be made fluffier for you? Good sounds. Now today, Venus joins asteroid Ceres, squares asteroid Juno. Tomorrow, opposite to asteroid Vesta. This Friday, Venus squares Neptune. So, amidst all of the intensity, the drilling, the overhaul that's going on, hopefully there's a little bit of a waft of some dreaminess, some artistic, some beauty. You know, even the most dirty, dark things, there's still hidden beauty in here. We can appreciate that. And with any Venus-Neptune square, you know, I encourage us to use these times. Don't take it too seriously. Maybe don't get married tonight. You know, don't have to sign any 30-year contracts. But a Venus-Neptune square, again, taking place on the 19th, it's like enjoy the drunkenness, enjoy the artistic, creative meandering, make some poetry, make some lightness. You know, we have to soak and appreciate and hold this beauty and this perspective when we have the opportunities to. The challenge here with the Venus Ceres square Juno is how much do we give and how much do we open and how real are they and are they really there and who are they really? Are they who I really think them to be, you know? And again, just enjoy it. It's like what's written on the rear view mirror. Objects may appear closer than they actually are, you know? It's like, enjoy the fun house of mirrors, appreciate this love and this beauty, and let's harness and let's use that and hone that into some type of creativity. Certainly, these are liberating days as well. These are lunar forecasts. I know I'm not talking much about the full moon approaching on the 25th in the sign of Leo. And every new full moon is special. What makes this full moon special is it's opposite to Pluto, fresh into Aquarius. So again, 20th, Pluto introduces itself to Aquarius. I'll have more information coming out on that shortly this week. And then the full moon on the 25th is really going to illuminate that Pluto in Aquarius, being opposite to that Pluto Aquarius. This full moon in Leo wants to celebrate Pluto in Aquarius. What's new? What's different? How do I get to liberate my own unique self-expression in this time period that's coming where everybody gets to do that? Everybody gets to have their 5 minutes of fame. Everybody gets to celebrate their own unique fetishes, their own unique pathologies, their phobias, their attractions, repulsions to just such an extreme level of unique and weird and different. These are the days and age in which we live. I'm going to be quoting one of my favorite poets, Hunter S. Thompson, throughout this year. This was my high school quote. When the going gets weird, the weird turn pro. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the year I turn pro. There's just absolutely no way but forward from here. And I've got so many divine weirdos in the Rasalila community. We're all liberating ourselves into our unique self-expression. Astrology is the Aquarius humanitarian art form, God-created divine language that we are using to acknowledge, validate, and then liberate our highly unique self-expression. This is Leo Aquarius stuff. Celebrate the full moon on the 25th. And if you are struggling, as so many people are right now, physical stuff, relational stuff, lifetimes, going back to childhood, we're drilling out this fundamental conditioning, expectations, obligations, what good boy versus bad boy is supposed to do, etc., etc. That's what's getting drilled out. Should you have any questions about your life, why is anything the way that it is, you're invited to my forthcoming Q&A on the 20th. I offer a mini chart reading to the group. We test drive evolutionary astrology to prove its validity. It's an educational opportunity and resource. and Astro calendars. Thank you so, so much for your patience. Those who have put orders in, I am shipping these calendars out as soon as I get them. They're the cheapest printers I can afford, and the shipping is a little bit slow. So thank you for your patience. You can get a 2024 astrology calendar featuring the artwork of Selena Jane up until our full moon coming up on January 25th. So if you haven't already gotten a pre-order, you want a calendar, you've got until the 25th to get that purchase made. And then thanks again for your patience. You should be receiving that calendar shortly. If you were in the first batch, you'll be getting your calendar, I expect, in the next week. Until next time, I very much look forward to this exciting, exciting year that we are jump starting this month of January. Until next time, take care.